Hello, I'm Jay Lawrence. Let me start by saying what an honor it is to serve as your CEO and work shoulders together with you, the dedicated volunteers and the lifeblood of this great organization. We've got a lot to cover in national news today, so let's get started. First, we want to thank you. Thank you for keeping our mission in motion in spite of all the challenges you faced. This past year, no matter what was going on, you kept inspiring mobility and independence, and for that, we thank you. I'd like to introduce our national officers for this year. Sue Haywood, National President of the Longview 2 chapter in Longview, Texas. Scott Buckaloo, National President-elect of the Edmond, Oklahoma chapter. Vic Menendez, immediate past National President of the Great Plains chapter in Lawton, Oklahoma. Donna Carlton Vish, Southern Region Director of the Emerald Coast chapter in Panama City, Florida, and the Danville, Illinois, and Greater Indy chapters. Rachel Nix, Mid-States Region Director of the Walker chapter in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Larry Turilli, Central Region Director from the Corn Belt chapter in Bloomington, Illinois, and the I Hope chapter in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Donna Hinchton, Great Plains Region Director from the Ponca City Charity Angels chapter. Billy Hagenbucher, Southwest Region Director from Longview, Texas chapter. Shirley Flickinger, the Northeast Region Director of the Lidditz, Pennsylvania chapter. Paula Bleckley, National Big Hat President from the Midday chapter in Woodward, Oklahoma. Flick Flickinger, National Big Hat Vice President from the Lidditz, Pennsylvania chapter. Wendy Bond, National Big Hat Secretary Treasurer from the Ponca City Charity Angels chapter, and also the Owasso, Oklahoma chapter. Before I introduce our AMBUCS Resource Center staff, I just wanted to share some information that you may or may not be aware of. It's been a tough year, and just like all of you, the AMBUCS Resource Center has faced unprecedented challenges. National dues are $25 per member per year, and total revenue from membership dues this year was just about $88,000. Clearly, that's nowhere near sufficient to cover the cost of salaries and benefits for our ARC team, or the additional cost for our mortgage, liability insurance, office supplies, utilities, and the maintenance of the facility. Typically, the revenue from Amtrike sales would provide us the cash needed to purchase additional Amtrikes, maintain our inventory, but it would also help us cover the operating costs for the ARC. A drastic reduction in Amtrike sales from 2019 to 2020, unfortunately, was $850,000, which was also more than $1.25 million under our budgeted amount. Thankfully, we were able to secure 2 PPP loans totaling $220,000 to cover operating costs. Other costs were cut, including the suspension of air travel and lodging for national officers and ARC executive staff. One position was eliminated and another employee went out on maternity leave. In the midst of all this chaos, 5 members of our team tested positive for COVID and dealt with symptoms of varying degree. But you know what? Inspired by you, our volunteers, we kept rolling. First, I want to introduce our Amtrike mechanic, Tony Salvato. Before moving to North Carolina, Tony lived in Connecticut with his parents and siblings. After 2 years of volunteering, Tony officially joined the team in February 2010 to share his mechanically inclined talents and his passion for the AMBUCS mission. In his downtime, Tony enjoys theme parks, tinkering, cooking, gardening, and especially decorating for Halloween. He also has a furry friend at home named Stitch, his beloved Yorkshire Terrier. Maria Austin, Customer Service Coordinator for Amtrike. Maria began working at AMBUCS in August of 2018 and has many years of administrative, clerical, and customer service experience. For Maria, the most pleasing part about working for AMBUCS is enjoying the feeling of making a difference and the impact we have on people. She's driven by her personal values of love, truth, and compassion, and her hobbies include cooking, reading, gardening, and watching movies. Please contact Maria for all Amtrike customer service needs, including Amtrike and AMBUCS store orders, invoices, returns, and accounts payable and receivable. Stephen Vinson, Amtrike Customer Service Representative. Stephen works with Maria, and since starting his position as a customer service representative in August of 2020, right in the middle of COVID, Stephen has been most inspired by the smiles on children's faces once they climb on their Amtrak. In his free time, Stephen enjoys singing, directing choir, playing the drums, and hanging out with friends and family. Contact Stephen with customer service needs, including Amtrak and AMBUCS store orders, invoices, returns, and store accounts payable and receivable. Sarah Zeller, Director of Marketing and Membership Services. Sarah joined our team in February 2020, just 1 month before COVID. Having a passion for charitable work, she spent her entire professional career in the nonprofit world. She received a BA in Communication Studies from the University of North Carolina at Wilmington and enjoys technology, Broadway musicals, camping, concerts, and spending time with her beagle Larson. Sarah is thrilled to be working with AMBUCS in our pursuit to inspire mobility and independence. Contact her if you have questions about AMBUCS marketing, including ambucs.org, our website, social media, AMBUCS Magazine, and chapter marketing support. Janice Blankenship, Membership Services Coordinator. Janice began working at National AMBUCS in September 2000. That's right, 21 years ago. I think some of you are guilty of calling the ARC just so you can hear Janice's sweet Southern voice. She says the most rewarding part of working at AMBUCS is seeing the happiness on a child's face as when riding their bikes for the first time and seeing the members giving their time and volunteering hours for our mission. They open their hearts to help. Contact Janice for questions about our Big Hat Club, friends and member information changes, chapter rosters, and gift acknowledgments. Alyssa Migalski, Charitable Programs Coordinator. Alyssa began working at AMBUCS in August of 2017. She received her BA in Communications from the University of Kentucky. Alyssa's family grew in March 2021 as she and her husband Dylan welcomed their baby girl Stella into the world. They also have 2 Labrador retrievers, Bronson and Nella. In her spare time, Alyssa is a beekeeper and enjoys gardening. Alyssa is currently out on maternity leave, and her duties are being handled by other ARC staff. Contact Jessica Wall for National Amtrak wish list or evaluation sites, and Rachel McCauley for the AMBUCS Scholarships for Therapists program. And now Rachel McCauley, our Marketing and Membership Specialist. Rachel's journey began with National AMBUCS in September of 2019. She holds a bachelor's degree in mass communications with a concentration in journalism. The most enjoyable part of her job is connecting with people and continuing the AMBUCS mission. Outside work, Rachel enjoys creative writing, reading, dancing, when no one's looking, of course, photography, binge watching her favorite TV shows, and playing video games. Contact Rachel if you have questions about the AMBUCS Scholarships for Therapists program. She may also field any general marketing and membership questions. Jessica Wall, Chief Operations Officer. Jessica is a self-proclaimed cool nonprofit nerd and began her AMBUCS journey in February 2014. She obtained her BA in Journalism and Mass Communications in English and an MS in Mass Communications from South Dakota State University, and she worked in higher ed before coming to AMBUCS. Jessica has a corgi named Maddox, who's the most photogenic dog ever, and a 9-year-old tabby cat named Tookie. Jessica says, at AMBUCS, I've been fortunate to grow, not only as a professional, but also as a human. Our volunteers are extraordinary. Knowing them is the opportunity to see the best parts of humanity in action. Contact Jessica if you have questions about the AMBUCS National Wish List, chapter funding or grants, all major donor functions, national and named scholarships, the Veterans Initiative, chapter building, and scorecard questions. And before I introduce Jessica, I want to deviate from the script slightly and just say how fortunate I am as CEO to work with someone, and how fortunate you are as an organization to have someone like Jessica on the team. I've never had the opportunity to work with anyone who had the same combination of commitment and competence. She's good at what she does. She's incredibly smart and talented, but even more importantly than that, she cares deeply about the mission of AMBUCS, and we are so fortunate to have her as part of the Resource Center team. So without further ado, Jessica Wall.
I consider it an honor to introduce this next guy. I call him the Big Cheese. That's because he is. but he's a little bit more than that. He has the shoulders together mentality, the perfect sort of person to be our leader. First week he was at AMBUCS, he was patching holes and painting offices, and today he ironed the backdrop. He's a nonprofit bug, and he believes in getting his hands dirty and getting in there and figuring it out. And he's been in nonprofit management for more than 20 years. And we've been lucky to have him for the last 4 years. He also has been working with children and adults with special needs for many years. He's certified in nonprofit management from Duke University and has his master's in special education from Lenoir-Rhyne University. Outside of work, he is a fitness guru. He does creative writing, acoustic guitar, and home repair. He is a dad to 4 awesome kids, Drew, Matt, Ashley, and Harley. And I really like this quote. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you have to keep pedaling and moving forward. That's one of his favorites too. Jay strongly believes in the AMBUCS mission and is inspired by knowing he plays a small role in helping our dedicated volunteer members accomplish that mission. Personally, the values that guide him are determination, integrity, compassion, vulnerability, curiosity, and creativity. Thanks so much, Jay, for all you do. All right, let's get down into those important AMBUCS calendar dates and deadlines. Please, 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 even if your chapter officers intend to remain the same, report them to us on Form 128. That's because if we see that your president has been the same president since 2019, it gives us a little assurance when you re-report those officers that we're contacting the people we're supposed to contact. So as you elect your new officers for the incoming AMBUCS year, please fill out Form 128 so that we can be better informed. Don't do it right now because you're supposed to be listening to national news, but please, please, please find your region director, find your host chapter or the people responsible for planning your conference and thank them. This is not an easy undertaking. It is months and months and months of planning. And in these last 2 years, our conference hosts have had to roll with the punches. For the Southwest region, you need to find the folks from the Grapevine, Texas chapter, and you need to say thank you. Also from Great Plains, you need to hit up District 5A. They are doing a phenomenal job. Northeast region, find Miss Shirley Flickinger and her team and say thank you. So our virtual conferences, they will not be having anything in person, but they still are working just as hard. Central region is going to be Saturday, May 8th, Mid-States, Friday, May 14th, and it's going to be an evening conference. Pay attention to those times. Southern region, Saturday, May 15th, and our at-large chapters who don't technically belong to a region of AMBUCS, they are also going to have a conference. And those dates will come out at a later time. Okay, more important deadlines. These are typical for every year, so please be sure to put them on your calendar and just know that the dates may move gradually by a few days. This year, our Scholarships for Therapists application close May 7th. The chapter sponsorship forms, May 14th. Program giving deadlines. This one's set in stone, friends. May 31st. That's when you need to get the donations in to support these programs. And then, of course, I've harped about it enough, Form 128. We typically like to see that around June 1st. Other important deadlines, award nominations. Please, please, please give that wonderful therapist in your community who is working hard a pat on the back and submit him or her for the Therapist of the Year. Now, those award nominations come to our office, and you can do that by simply emailing the forms from the award guidelines to membership@ambucs.org. Achievement Award nominations, those are a little different. You need to send those to your region director. Most of them are June 1st. Great Plains needed to get that in a little bit earlier, May 15th. And then also coming up is the deadline for the fourth quarter scorecard. That's June 10th. Now, if you have not submitted the other 3 scorecards this year, please try to get those in as soon as possible. I will still accept them. But remember, we have an August conference this year, more to come on that later, and I need to be able to get those scorecards tabulated. So get those into us as soon as possible. The IRS tax deadlines, because of COVID and the impact of all that has happened the last couple of years, they have decided to move the deadlines for Form 990 again this year. I encourage you to fill them out as soon as possible when all that information is fresh in your brain, but you do have until November 15th if your chapter recognizes the fiscal year January 1 to December 31. You have until, April 15th of 2022 if your chapter recognizes June 1 to May 31. Plaques and pin orders, you're able to send the plaque orders to Crown Carolinas. They are super easy to order through by simply sending an email. If you would like some more information about what they offer, please contact our office. We can definitely send you over samples of what they have available. Lapel pins, though, that's a little different because they have to be purchased in very large quantities. So lapel pins, still send those orders to our office. In fact, you can reach out to me and I will point you in the right direction. Okay. Safe practices for chapters. We are still encouraging this. Please continue to abide by state and local restrictions regarding group meetings. Offer the option to Zoom for those who cannot attend in person. And so we are a national organization. We have to have a little bit of variety. And so we understand some states have different restrictions than others. And again, we encourage you to abide by the state that you're in doing your AMBUCS business. The chapter toolkit, if you haven't checked this out yet, you really need to. Please be sure to head to the membership section of our website. This 50-page document, it can be a little overwhelming, but it is really, truly full of all things you need to know when you're talking about chapter management. Events, they're starting to come back as COVID continues to settle. But please make sure your events are insured. We've got some different restrictions, things that are covered, things that aren't covered under our policy. You are able to see fully what that is with some information guidelines that are on our website under the membership admin documents section. If you're just not sure, you can simply fill out the request for proof of insurance, and they'll tell you if everything's covered or not. If it's not, Amanda Gerhardt, she is our contact at Marshall & McLennan. She will get you some information and will offer you an insurance rider if more coverage is needed. Currently, there are no COVID riders required. It's also not currently offered by our insurance agency. My favorite slide. New chapters. How in the world do you start new chapters during a pandemic? Well, obviously it happens. And we are able to boast that the Red River AMBUCS in Fargo, North Dakota, they are doing a fantastic job up there in the northern region. And we are so excited to welcome them. Also in the north, but this time the Northeast, Steel City Cyclers chapter in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They've been holding steady. Just below them is the Metro East, Illinois Wishing Wheels chapter in Fairview Heights. And also, just across the border from them in Springfield, Missouri, is the Route 66 Cruisers. Coming in at the southern region is AMBUCS of the Emerald Coast in Panama City Beach, Florida. This one is on the bubble. We're starting to see some progress with the Lake Area Trikers chapter of Cleveland, Oklahoma, and then all the way out to the west in California. California has 2 new chapters, the VC Trikers in Ventura, California, and the San Diego Super Speedsters in San Diego, California. Again, we are just so excited to see some of these new chapters during such a challenging time. 100% giving. These letters went out to detail 100% giving goals. You have until May 31st to support our 3 charitable programs. That's Amtrike, Cornerstone, and our Scholarships for Therapists program. $40 per member is the goal, and that is based on the February 28th Blue Chip. If you have more questions about 100% giving, you can check out that handy dandy chapter toolkit, and it will fill you in on everything you need to know. If that doesn't help, give me a call. Okay, so our office has been experiencing just a technology overhaul since, let's see, this all started at the tail end of 2019. We really started to see some hardware solutions come into place for our office in February 2020. In the last few months, we've seen even more changes. We've had some issues with our phone system that have been rectified. We had an old server that had to be replaced. We're going to the cloud, and I'm telling you, all of these things are really exciting and they're really great, and they're going to move us in the right direction so that we can better serve you. But whew, it's been a lot of work, and we're a bunch of old dogs who are having to learn some new tricks. And so it's been challenging to adjust to some of this new technology as well. We're really excited about our AMBUCS implementation, though. That is our new membership database. And we're excited because it's going to make our lives a little bit easier. But really, truly, we want to get this out there and get it in place because we want to make your life easier. So Wednesday is AMBUCS Day. Every Wednesday, Larry Torelli, one of our awesome volunteers from the Corn Belt and I Hope chapters, he's also Central Region Director, we get together. Every once in a while, we have some team members who join us for those meetings, and this is our working sessions. We come up with what our homework's going to be for the next week. We refine what we're going to achieve for this year, and we have actionable goals that we are developing so that we can start to move towards that self-service solution that so many of our chapters have been requesting of us. This is the biggest undertaking, but it will be the most visual representation of all of these efforts. This is the stuff that is really going to show you, or it's at least going to make your life easier as an AMBUCS volunteer. So what do I mean by self-service? I mean a membership portal that lets you sign in and see your individual membership information. You can also see your chapter's information. And I'm talking about more so your chapter's activities. What have you been doing in the areas of the charitable programs and membership growth? Those things that we are able to track easily on our end. But also, you will be able to report your chapter activities that we don't know. How many ramps have you built? How many community service hours have you completed? How much money did you give towards a local charity? These are things that you will be able to track and report within your self-service membership portal to make your life easier as a chapter, but also to give us that really important information that we are just dying to know. So our short-term goal to move us closer to this is we're going to onboard a summer intern. We just need some more hands on deck. And this person is going to assist us with developing that website or that membership portal. The ongoing long-term goals, we got to build all of these reports and forms that are going to make your life easier as an AMBUCS volunteer. We are very excited to hit some of those short and long-term goals so that we can make your lives easier. Okay, I love these folks. They are just so awesome in my book. The Scholarships for Therapists Committee, if you read their guidelines, they are tasked with being judges of our scholarship applications, but that's not all they do. These ladies and gentlemen of the past really hone in on how they can improve the program. They look at what has been done and what we can do to better impact the lives of our students and future therapists. Your committee for this year is the amazing Sheila Davis. She is our chairperson from the Indian Valley chapter, coming from the Northeast region. Tammy Tubell, she's just behind her from Huntsville, Tennessee Valley in Huntsville, Alabama. Vicki Tangeman, she is from the New Network chapter in Salina, Kansas. And Amanda Storer, she is just coming on to the committee from the Tyler area chapter in Tyler, Texas. Thank you, ladies, all so much for your service this year. Last year, our committee set some really amazing goals, and so we were so excited about last year's accomplishments. I know when we had our first Zoom meeting with our committee, we were nervous. We were $55,000 down from being able to get anywhere close to the program money that had been raised the previous year. So we sat down together and we come up with a fundraising strategy, and thankfully the membership responded. And I am happy to boast on their behalf the fact that we were able to award $203,000, just over $203,000 to 261 students during the most recent academic year. So we are just on the cusp of reaching $9.4 million in scholarships, and we've given those to 16,264 students. So this is a comparison. What you're going to see from your scholarship committee in recent years is they're trying to gradually award higher dollar amounts to students. So you'll see here on the right, the 2019 awards, that basic scholarship, the lowest scholarship amount was $550. The big hat was the same. William L. White was $600, so it was a little bit more. And then of course our named awards, the most prestigious scholarships, they had a range of $800 to $3,000. And then of course on the left, you'll see that comparison, that little bump, so that we can start to give more money to those students who are paying for a very expensive education. Important scholarship dates, as I mentioned before, these dates usually fall around the same time on the calendar each year, but you definitely want to check back in with us to get that firm date. The application deadline this year was May 7th, sponsorship form was the 14th. Deadline to financially support the program, May 31st. And the scholarship committee, well, they're getting ready to meet in late June, and they will select the students that we announce in early July. We're still doing the elite giving societies, William L. White, Amtrak ambassadors, and chapter advocates. These start with at least $1,000 investment into our permanent fund. When those folks are able to invest at least $10,000, they have given enough to establish a named gift, a named scholarship, a named Amtrak endowment, a named chapter gift. And that's obviously a really exciting point for all of us to see them finally reach that $10,000 investment. If you would like more information about these elite giving societies, you can check out that handy dandy chapter toolkit I keep bringing up, or give me a call. So we definitely love those people who are investing into our permanent fund. We could not have the healthy permanent fund that we do have without our dedicated donors from the Elite Giving Society. I'm going to be honest with you though, I'm pretty partial to these general donations of any size. I say any dollar amount has the ability to create impact in someone's life. General donations are something that we can spend this year. Of course, if you give to an elite giving society, that is then invested and works with those other elite gifts. so that we can eventually pull that from the permanent fund and award those scholarships. General donations, though, they're going to help us right now. And we've still got those marketing downloads out there. If you would like, you are free and clear to go download business card templates, banner templates, logos. You can get crafty and creative and use those things to better publicize your chapter. But if you do need our assistance, please feel free to reach out. We can do that for you. What we wanted to do with creating the templates was so we could save you some money and you go directly to companies like Vistaprint instead of coming through us. The Amtrak catalog, we're still holding firm with the 2019 version until we see some more progress in terms of product changing. The 2019 catalog is still pretty accurate representation of stock status. Speaking of Amtrak, we're getting ready to get into that, and I'm going to turn it over to Jay Lawrence.
Hello, I'm back to share an update on our Amtrak program. Some of you have heard a rumor that we don't have Amtraks available and we can't ship trikes to chapters. I'm here to tell you that that rumor is not true. In fact, right now, we have a healthy supply of 10 of our 15 Amtrak models. So let's first look at the good news and talk about what we do have in stock. We have a healthy supply of hand-foot-powered Amtraks for children, including the AM10, AM12 small, AM12, and AM16 hand-foot-powered trikes. These models are designed to stimulate reciprocal movement and increase range of motion. The fixed drive helps riders who have problems making a full pedal rotation. Rear steering is standard on the smaller models and available on the larger models, and permanent hand-only options are also available. Give a child the gift of a hand-foot or hand-powered Amtrak now. Think about it. Almost 30 years ago, thanks to the determination and ingenuity of Sue Haywood, Gene Allen, and the members of the Longview, Texas chapter, our very first Amtrak was an early intervention hand-foot powered model. Children who could not ride a traditional foot-powered tricycle would now be able to ride with their brothers, sisters, and friends, something they could only dream of doing before. While COVID has brought undeniable challenges to our organization over the past year, now's the perfect time for our AMBUCS therapists and chapters to return to our roots. Let's focus on providing the gift of mobility and independence to those who may need it most. We're well equipped right now to meet the needs of children and teenagers who require hand-foot or hand-only propulsion. Here's a quote from National President Sue Amtrak Mama Haywood. These past 30 years have been filled with one success story after another as little riders gain freedom and independence. At the same time, the hand-foot nature of the Amtrak provides their weak muscles a great therapeutic workout. These children don't realize it at the time. They're too busy having fun riding with their peers and siblings. They're building up their back, abdominal, leg, and arm muscles in the best way possible. They're strengthening their core and improving flexibility and balance. I can't think of anything in our therapy world that offers all these benefits at the same time. Help us give this incredible gift to more children right now. We also have a healthy supply of hand-powered Amtraks for teens and adults. The 1020 and 1024 hand-powered models offer great mobility options for teens and adults with a sliding wheelchair seat for easy transfer on and off. It also includes a multifaceted adjustable foot platform to provide riders comfort. We have plenty of recumbent foot-powered Amtraks for teens and adults also. The JT2000, JT2300, and TP3000 foot-powered models are full-featured recumbents for more independent, accomplished riders for use on paved trails or roads. All three models offer flexible gearing to navigate variable terrain. The good news is that we still have about $50,000 from our initial Veterans Grant Initiative amount of $100,000 so that chapters can receive free trikes to provide to veterans. All that chapters have to pay is the cost of shipping. Each chapter can qualify for up to 5 adult trikes as long as the money is available, and the therapist must complete an official Amtrak assessment and selection form. One of the following adult Amtraks can be ordered with any of these: 1020, 1024, JT 2000, JT 2300, or a TP 3000. When ordering, make sure you inform your Amtrak customer service representative that the Amtrak is for a veteran recipient. Here's a quote from Amtrak Advisory Board Chair Amy Carter. "Veterans in our communities need us now. We shouldn't wait for tomorrow, just as they didn't hesitate when answering the call to serve our country. We have the funding and the Amtrak models in stock to meet the needs of our veterans right now. Let's make it happen." Now I'd like to talk about some not so good news in the Amtrak world, and it's about COVID triggering Amtrak delays and price increases, a true double whammy. Just over 1,000 Amtraks were ordered by our program in November of 2020 and would have typically arrived by March of 2021. Due to COVID, the delivery date was initially delayed until late August or early September, and we just recently found out that it has been pushed back now to late October or early November 2021. So please make note of that date. So we will be out of stock of any model beginning with the number 14 until late fall. So 1410, 1412, 1416, 1420, and 1420 XL will be out of stock for at least that long, and we'll certainly keep you posted if there are any changes there. We apologize for that delay. So, why the backorder situation with the 1400 series? Well, predominantly because manufacturing delays caused by factory shutdowns and a global bicycle part shortage have negatively impacted not just Amtrak, but the entire bicycle industry. Over 90% of the bike industry is in China and Taiwan. In early 2020, manufacturing facilities in these countries shut down in response to COVID, and that was long before it became an issue in the US. The bicycle industry and others came to a screeching halt for several months at the worst possible time. Bicycle companies couldn't get components, build bikes, or fill orders. Factories in China and Taiwan eventually began reopening, but they struggled to catch up on a mountain of back orders as COVID forced absences, quarantines, and government sanctions continued. In the midst of these daunting challenges, something happened that possibly no one could have predicted. The global demand for bicycles absolutely exploded. Why did the need for bicycles jump so dramatically? Oddly, in response to the same culprit that shut down factories in the first place, COVID. People were now stuck at home. Schools, gyms, Ys, yoga studios, sports leagues, and playgrounds closed, and we were forced to find socially distanced opportunities to get exercise. Parents wanted their kids off their screens and out of the house. Suddenly, bikes began flying off the racks of big retailers, sporting goods stores, and small bike shops. John Burke, the CEO of Trek Bicycle Company, may have said it best. It was like there was a really big button that said global bike boom, and then someone pushed it. Unfortunately, a manufacturing system already struggling mightily with back orders due to shutdowns wasn't ready for a bike boom. They couldn't catch up, much less keep up. The demand for the product is higher now than it's ever been, but these businesses, even large national chains, can't get enough bikes. Racks remain empty. It's disappointing, but certainly not surprising that our Amtrak program faces the same challenge. So when will the shortage be resolved? Sadly, industry experts don't expect noticeable improvement until well into 2022. The supply chain issues will not be a quick fix because of the sheer number of parts involved. Bicycles and even more so, specialized Amtraks have complex supply chains with as many as 50 different components. Even if 49 components are available and just one is not, bikes can't be manufactured. The process is only as strong as its weakest link. This could lead to continued delays on orders for any and all of our Amtrak models and accessories in the immediate future, and we certainly apologize for what may be yet to come. Tony Chin, our contact at the sales division at Gomir, sent an email recently pointing out the shortage of raw materials, steel, aluminum, rubber, etc., to make the parts that are in short supply has increased our lead time for filling orders from 3 months to 1.5 years. As you can see, circumstances are out of our control with the entire supply chain. A recent report from Bicycle Retailer and Industry News indicates that Shimano, by far the largest bicycle component manufacturer in the world, is requiring bicycle manufacturers to place orders 400 days or more in advance. A direct quote from that report goes, "If you thought the bicycle and parts supply chain was tight in the second half of 2020, then you ain't seen nothing yet. 2021 will be tighter still." From a plan to fix the US bike shortage, a recent Wired article, this word, Shimano prioritizes scale, meaning the bigger players are at the front of the line, and the smaller players have to wait at the back of the line and pay premium prices for components. Therein lies our significant challenge as a small nonprofit provider of adaptive trikes. So an unavoidable challenge caused by this COVID bike boom is also an increase in prices. In early December, just a month after ordering the 1,000 Amtrikes that we spoke of earlier, we received a notice that prices would be increased significantly. After agreeing to that price increase, we received a notice in early January saying prices would be increased yet again. Keep in mind that these price increases were on trikes and accessories we had ordered 2 months prior. Tony Chen from Gomier again explained the price jumps this way. We've had to increase prices several times for Amtrikes and accessories because our suppliers have raised prices multiple times during COVID. In November and December of 2020, costs for tires, rims, spokes, brakes, seat clamps, and reflectors increased significantly. Then at the beginning of 2021, prices were increased for frames, forks, painting, decal application, handlebars, stems, pedals, pedal cranks, axles, seats, seat posts, gear hubs, chains, springs, screws, washers, baskets, and even foam and cardboard for packaging. It's been a very tough situation. Scott Kamler of BCA, Bicycle Corporation of America, echoed these frustrations, sharing, "We're getting insane price increases due to the currency changes and part shortages. Part suppliers are increasing prices by more than 25% simply because they can. It's the law of supply and demand." These increases haven't been confined to bicycles and components either. Freight costs have increased at a staggering rate. From Bicycle Retailer and Industry News, the shipping cost for a 20 or 40-foot container has gone ballistic, with typical increases in the 300 to 400% range. So the next time you hear suppliers talking about freight issues and delays, they're not making it up. In recent years, the ARC has simply absorbed these small incremental price increases from Gomier. These increases weren't passed on to you at the chapter level with our discounted prices. The significance of the current increases, however, necessitates that we increase prices for you as the chapters and for others. Recently, the Amtrike Advisory Board approved a 20% increase, effective May 1st, 2021, on all 1400 series Amtrikes and accessories. We don't plan to increase prices on the models currently in stock until inventory is depleted and new trikes are purchased from suppliers at increased rates. If the supplier prices drop as things return to normal following COVID, we'll certainly decrease prices for our chapters and customers accordingly. So now let's talk about some good news. We're making progress on our BCA prototypes. In May or June, our Amtrike Advisory Board hopes to be testing the long-awaited production-ready samples of the first Amtrike model to be assembled by BCA in South Carolina. Final drawings for these prototypes were approved in late 2020, and a steel sample of an initial prototype has been fabricated. After testing for fit and functionality, a second prototype will be fabricated using an aluminum alloy frame. We had hoped to have these samples in hand much earlier, but the tooling process was stalled again in early 2021 due to COVID, since BCA is working with engineers in China on the design and fabrication of the prototypes. After thoroughly testing the production samples to ensure they meet all safety and design specs, the Amtrike Advisory Board will either issue its stamp of approval or request additional modifications. Once the prototypes are officially approved, the process of procuring all the parts and accessories needed for production will begin. Unfortunately, that process could also be slowed by the global bicycle part shortage. In spite of any delays and challenges, We will work shoulders together with you to move forward to a brighter future. Now to a question that many of you have. Are we having the AMBUCS National Conference this year? Yes, we are having an in-person conference in Louisville, Kentucky. So welcome to the Bluegrass State. Wednesday, August 25th to Saturday, August 28th, 2021, we will meet at the Galt House Hotel in Louisville, Kentucky. The host venue will adhere to all local and state COVID-related restrictions and guidelines, but due to budget constraints and concern for safety, our schedule of activities may be modified. The Galt House recently completed an $80 million renovation and is a spectacular property. Our room rate will be $139 for guest suites and $159 for executive guest suites. The hotel will honor these rates 3 days before and 3 days after our conference event. I think my face is probably covering up those room rates. So again, the room rates are $139 and $159 per night. The hotel is on the Ohio River, close to all kinds of downtown attractions. It offers free Wi-Fi, parking, a fitness center, spa, cafe, restaurant, bar, and room service if needed. Early check-in or late check-out can also be requested. So Louisville, no matter how you say it, there's a lot to do in this city. clearly we're going to have a great time in Louisville, and we hope you'll all join us there. We also hope to see you about a year later in 2022 at our national conference in Birmingham, Alabama. That's right, the birthplace of AMBUCS in 1922. Come join us and celebrate 100 years of inspiring mobility and independence. The event will be held at the Sheraton Birmingham Hotel, a beautiful facility, so we hope to see you there. Also, watch for exciting news coming June 1st about our Mission in Motion Capital campaign. Again, celebrating 100 years of inspiring mobility and independence and building the foundation for 100 more. When we share this information, you'll learn how we can position ourselves as an organization, not just to survive this challenging time, but to thrive and head toward a brighter future. So we look forward to sharing this information and hope that you'll support our Mission in Motion Capital campaign. Thank you.